The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the massive alien fleet. Hundreds of ships, each as big as a small city, floated silently at the edge of the Milky Way galaxy. These were the Zorn, a proud race of explorers from a distant star system. But now, they were lost and afraid. Captain Tar stood on the bridge of the flagship, his 4 eyes scanning the unfamiliar star patterns. His normally blue skin had turned a pale shade of worry. He turned to his second-in-command, Vela, who was busy checking the ship's systems. "Any luck with the warp drive?" Tar asked, though he already knew the answer. Vela's antenna drooped as she shook her head. "No, Captain. It's completely dead. Whatever that energy storm was, it fried our systems. We're stuck here." Sar sighed, a sound like whistling wind. He looked out at the fleet again. Millions of his people were on these ships, all of them now stranded far from home. They had enough food and supplies to last for years, but without a working warp drive, they might as well be trapped forever. "Keep trying," he told Vela. "There must be something we can do." As Carr turned back to the view screen, a young officer named Zeal rushed onto the bridge. His skin was flashing with excitement, a sign of strong emotions among the Zorn. "Captain, we found something," Zeal exclaimed, his words coming out in a rush. "There's a planet nearby. It's inhabited." Zar's 4 eyes widened. "Show me," he commanded. Zeal quickly brought up an image on the main screen. A beautiful blue and green planet appeared, swirling with white clouds. Zar and the bridge crew stared in awe. It looked so much like their own homeworld. "It's called Earth," Zeal explained. "The inhabitants call themselves humans. They're not part of the galactic community yet, but our scans show they have advanced technology. Maybe they could help us." A murmur of hope spread through the bridge. Zar felt a spark of optimism for the first time since they'd become stranded. But he was cautious too. First contact with a new species was always risky. "What do we know about these humans?" Zar asked. Vela, who had been listening intently, spoke up. "Our database has some information, Captain. They're a young species, but they've made rapid progress. They've already visited their own moon and sent probes to nearby planets. They're curious, inventive, and resourceful." Zar nodded slowly, considering their options. They could wait and hope for rescue, which might never come. Or they could take a chance on these humans. "Prepare a small scout ship," Tar decided. "We'll send a team down to make contact. Volunteers only. This could be dangerous." To his surprise, nearly every crew member on the bridge stepped forward. Zar felt a swell of pride. His people were scared, but they were brave too. He chose a team of 5, led by Vela. As they prepared to leave, Zar gave them final instructions. "Remember, we come in peace. Show them we need help, but be careful. We don't know how they'll react to us." The small scout ship detached from the flagship and headed towards Earth. Zar watched it go, his hearts beating faster. So much depended on this mission. Would the humans help them, or would they react with fear and hostility? As the scout ship disappeared into Earth's atmosphere, Zar turned to address the rest of the fleet. He needed to keep everyone calm and hopeful. "My fellow Zorn," he began, his voice broadcast to every ship. "We face a great challenge, but we are not without hope. We have found a planet called Earth, home to a species known as humans. They may be able to help us repair our warp drives and return home." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I know you're scared. I am too. But we are Zorn. We have faced the unknown before and triumphed. Whatever happens, we will face it together." As Tar finished speaking, a cheer went up across the fleet. The Zorn's spirits lifted, if only a little. Now, all they could do was wait and hope that the humans would welcome them with open arms. The small Zorn scout ship entered Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology hiding it from human detection systems. Inside, Vela and her team of 4 other Zorn prepared themselves for humanity's first contact with an alien species. "Remember," Vela said, her antennas twitching nervously. "We need to appear friendly. No sudden movements." The ship touched down in a secluded forest clearing, not far from a small town in the United States. As the door opened, the Zorn took their first breath of Earth air. It was different from their home planet, but not unpleasant. Zeal, the young officer who had first discovered Earth, stepped out first. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly, adjusting to the sunlight filtering through the trees. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Suddenly, they heard a noise. A human was approaching. The Zorn quickly hid behind some bushes, watching as a young woman walked into the clearing. She was talking into a small device in her hand. "I'm telling you, Dad, I saw something land here," the woman said. It was like a shooting star, but it slowed down. Vela looked at her team. This was their chance. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out from behind the bushes. The woman's eyes widened in shock. She dropped her phone, her mouth open in a silent scream. "Please, do not be afraid," Vela said, using the universal translator they had brought. "We come in peace. We need your help." For a moment, there was silence. Then, to everyone's surprise, the woman laughed. "I knew it," she exclaimed. "I knew aliens were real. Wait till I tell my dad." Back on the Zorn fleet, Captain Tsar paced nervously on the bridge of his ship. It had been hours since the scout team left, and there was no word from them yet. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the scout ship." Tsar rushed over. "Put it through." Vela's voice came through, sounding excited. "Captain, you won't believe this. The humans, they're helping us." Tsar felt a wave of relief wash over him. "Tell me everything," he said. Vela explained how they had met Sarah, the young woman in the forest. Instead of panicking, Sarah had listened to their story and promised to help. She had contacted her father, a prominent scientist, who in turn had reached out to government officials. "They're organizing a team of their best scientists and engineers," Vela said. "They want to study our warp drive technology and see if they can help fix it." Tsar couldn't believe what he was hearing. It seemed too good to be true. "Are you sure we can trust them?" he asked. "I think so, Captain," Vela replied. "They seem genuinely excited to meet us. They say this could be the beginning of a new era for their species." Over the next few days, news of the aliens spread across Earth. There was panic at first, but as more information came out about the Zorn's peaceful intentions and their need for help, many humans rallied to their cause. A global task force was formed, bringing together the brightest minds from every nation. The United Nations held emergency sessions to discuss how to best assist the stranded alien fleet. Sarah, whose quick thinking and open-mindedness had made first contact so successful, became a global celebrity overnight. She worked closely with Vela, acting as a liaison between the Zorn and humans. Meanwhile, Captain Tar made the decision to move the Zorn fleet closer to Earth. As the massive ships appeared in the sky, visible to everyone on the planet, it was a moment that would be remembered in human history forever. Millions of people gathered in cities and towns, looking up at the alien ships with a mixture of awe and excitement. For the first time, humanity truly understood that they were not alone in the universe. As teams of human scientists began to board the Zorn ships to study their technology, Tsar couldn't help but feel hopeful. These humans, with their curiosity and determination, might just be the key to getting his people home. But little did Tsar know, the adventure was only beginning. The collaboration between Zorn and humans would lead to discoveries and challenges that neither species could have imagined. The future of both races was about to change forever. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity both on Earth and aboard the Zorn fleet. Humans and aliens worked side by side, trying to understand and repair the complex warp drive technology that had brought the Zorn across the galaxy. Dr. Emily Chen, a brilliant physicist from MIT, found herself working closely with Zeal, the young Zorn officer. They made an odd pair, Emily, with her messy ponytail and coffee-stained lab coat, and Zeal, with his blue skin and 4 blinking eyes. But their shared passion for science bridged the gap between their species. So the warp drive creates a bubble of space-time around the ship. Emily asked, her eyes wide with excitement, as she studied the alien schematics. Zeal nodded, his antennas bobbing. Yes, but it's more than that. It folds space, bringing 2 distant points together. Emily's mind raced with the implications. This could revolutionize our understanding of physics. Meanwhile, Captain Khtar faced challenges of his own. Some human leaders were growing nervous about the alien presence. They worried about the advanced technology the Zorn possessed and the potential threat they might pose. Tsar stood before the United Nations Security Council, his translator device allowing him to address the world's most powerful leaders. "I understand your concerns," he said, his voice calm but firm. "But I assure you, we mean no harm. We are explorers, like you. All we want is to return home." The room was silent for a moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, the Russian ambassador stood up. "I believe him," she said. "My country will continue to offer full support to the Zorn." One by one, other nations followed suit. The tide of opinion was turning in the aliens' favor. Back on the Zorn flagship, Vela was giving Sarah a tour of their advanced medical bay. Sarah marveled at the glowing pods that could heal injuries in minutes. "This is incredible," Sarah said, running her hand over one of the pods. "Think of all the lives this could save on Earth." Vela's skin rippled with a pattern that Sarah had learned meant happiness. "Perhaps we can arrange to leave some of this technology behind when we leave," she suggested. Sarah grinned. "I think that would go a long way in winning over any remaining doubters." As days turned into weeks, progress on the warp drive was slow but steady. Human ingenuity combined with Zorn knowledge in ways neither species had anticipated. One day, as Emily and Zeal were poring over some calculations, Emily had a sudden realization. She jumped up, knocking over her cold coffee. "Zeal, I think I've got it," she exclaimed. "What if we use quantum entanglement to stabilize the warp field?" Zeal's eyes widened as he looked at Emily's hastily scribbled equations. That could work. How did we not think of this before? They rushed to share their breakthrough with the rest of the team. Within hours, engineers from both species were working to implement the new idea. As word spread of the potential solution, a sense of excitement and anticipation swept through the fleet and across Earth. But with hope came new worries. What would happen when the Zorn left? How would this encounter change humanity's future? Captain Khtar and world leaders began discussing plans for after the Zorn's departure. Trade agreements were drafted, cultural exchange programs were proposed, and plans were made for future joint scientific missions. "We may have come to your world by accident," Khtar told a gathering of human and Zorn scientists, "but I believe our meeting was no accident. Together, our species can achieve great things." As the day of the test for the new warp drive approached, both humans and Zorn held their breath. Would it work? And if it did, what would it mean for the future of both species? The fate of the Zorn and the future of humanity hung in the balance. The next few hours would determine whether this remarkable alliance would end in triumph or disappointment. But regardless of the outcome, one thing was clear: the universe would never be the same again. The day of the warp drive test had finally arrived. Tension filled the air as humans and Zorn gathered to witness the potential breakthrough that could send the alien fleet home. On the bridge of the Zorn flagship, Captain Khtar stood tall, his 4 eyes fixed on the main view screen. Beside him, Dr. Emily Chen fidgeted nervously, her fingers tapping a rapid rhythm on her tablet. "All systems are go," Zeal reported from his station. "We're ready to initiate the test sequence." Khtar nodded solemnly. "Proceed." As Zeal began the countdown, Emily closed her eyes, silently praying to whatever forces might be listening in the vast universe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage. A low hum filled the ship, growing steadily louder. The view screen showed a shimmering distortion forming in space ahead of them. "It's working," Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. But her joy was short-lived. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. The warp field flickered and collapsed, sending a shockwave through the vessel. "Abort! Abort!" Sar shouted, grabbing onto a console to steady himself. As quickly as it had begun, the test was over. A heavy silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the soft beeping of various instruments. "What happened?" Sar asked, his voice tight with disappointment. Emily was already diving into the data, her fingers flying over her tablet. "The field was unstable," she muttered. "We were so close, but something's still not right." Back on Earth, news of the failed test spread quickly. While many remained supportive of the joint human-Zorn effort, others began to question whether it was worth the risk and resources. Sarah found herself defending the project on a popular news show. "We can't give up now," she argued passionately. "This isn't just about helping the Zorn. The knowledge we're gaining could transform our understanding of the universe." Meanwhile, in a small lab on the Zorn ship, Vela made an unexpected discovery. She had been experimenting with combining Zorn technology with human components when she noticed something strange. "Captain, Dr. Chen," she called over the intercom. "I think you need to see this." When Sar and Emily arrived, Vela showed them her findings. "Look at how the human semiconductors interact with our quantum matrix," she explained. "It's creating a completely new energy signature." Emily's eyes lit up as she examined the data. "This could be the key to stabilizing the warp field," she exclaimed. As word of this new development spread, it reignited hope among both species, but it also presented a new challenge. They would need to redesign significant portions of the warp drive to incorporate human technology. "It will take weeks, maybe months," Zeal pointed out during a strategy meeting. Sar sighed heavily. "We've already been here for so long. Can we ask the humans for even more help?" To everyone's surprise, it was the President of the United States who answered that question. In a globally televised address, she announced increased support for the project. "The Zorn came to us in their time of need," she said, her voice firm and resolute. "We will not abandon them now. This is humanity's chance to prove that we are ready to take our place among the stars." The speech galvanized public opinion. Offers of help poured in from around the world. Scientists, engineers, and even ordinary citizens volunteered their time and skills to assist the Zorn. As work on the new hybrid warp drive began, something unexpected happened. The prolonged collaboration began to change both humans and Zorn in subtle ways. Humans adopted some of the Zorn's more efficient work methods, while the aliens found themselves inspired by human creativity and outside-the-box thinking. Cultural exchanges became common, with humans learning Zorn art forms and Zorn developing a taste for human music and cuisine. One evening, as Emily and Zeal worked late in the lab, Zeal paused and turned to his human colleague. "Emily," he said softly, "even if we succeed and return home, I will miss this place. I will miss you." Emily smiled, reaching out to gently touch Zeal's arm. "This isn't an ending, Zeal. It's a beginning. Once you can travel between our worlds, we'll see each other again." As they turned back to their work, both felt a renewed sense of purpose. They weren't just fixing a warp drive anymore. They were building a bridge between two civilizations, forging a friendship that could change the course of both their species forever. The path ahead was still uncertain, but one thing was clear: whatever challenges lay ahead, humans and Zorn would face them together. As weeks turned into months, the collaborative effort between humans and Zorn intensified. The hybrid warp drive project became the focal point of global attention, with daily news updates and live streams from the work sites. In a sprawling facility built specifically for the project, human and Zorn engineers worked tirelessly. The air buzzed with a mix of human languages and the melodic tones of Zorn speech. Holographic displays flickered with complex equations and 3D models of the evolving warp drive design. Dr. Emily Chen wiped sweat from her brow as she made final adjustments to a component that married human superconductors with Zorn quantum technology. Beside her, Zeal carefully monitored the energy readings. Energy flow is stable, Zeal reported, his 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession. I think we've done it, Emily. Emily allowed herself a small smile. Let's not celebrate yet. We still need to test it in a full-scale model. Meanwhile, Captain Tar faced a different kind of challenge. As the project progressed, some of the younger Zorn had begun to express a desire to stay on Earth. They had formed close bonds with humans and were fascinated by Earth's cultures and ecosystems. Tsar called a meeting with Vela and other senior officers to discuss the situation. We can't force anyone to leave, he said, his skin rippling with concern. But if too many stay behind, we won't have enough crew to operate the fleet. Vela's antennae twitched thoughtfully. Perhaps this is an opportunity, Captain. What if we propose an exchange program? Some Zorn stay on Earth, and some humans come with us to our homeworld. The idea quickly gained traction, not just among the Zorn, but with human leaders as well. It was seen as a way to deepen the bonds between the two species and exchange knowledge on a broader scale. Sarah, who had become an unofficial ambassador for human-Zorn relations, was thrilled by the proposal. She immediately volunteered to be part of the first group of humans to visit the Zorn homeworld. Think of what we could learn, she exclaimed during a TV interview, not just about their technology, but about their history, their art, their philosophies. This could be the greatest cultural exchange in human history. As preparations for the exchange program began, work on the warp drive entered its final stages. The day arrived for the first full-scale test of the new hybrid system. The test would take place in space, with a single Zorn ship attempting a short warp jump within the solar system. If successful, it would jump from Earth orbit to just beyond the Moon and back. As the test ship prepared to depart, tension filled the air. On the ground, Emily, Zeal, and their team huddled around monitors, watching every reading carefully. In orbit, Sar commanded the test ship, with Vela at the helm. All systems are green, Vela reported. We're ready to initiate the warp sequence. Sar took a deep breath. Engage. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the ship vanished in a flash of light. On Earth, everyone held their breath, waiting to see if the ship would reappear. Seconds ticked by like hours. Emily gripped Zeal's hand tightly, both of them staring intently at the monitors. Sarah, watching from a VIP observation area, whispered a quiet prayer. Just when the tension became almost unbearable, there was another flash. The ship reappeared exactly where it was supposed to, in perfect condition. A cheer erupted from the control room. Emily and Zeal hugged each other, laughing with joy and relief. On the ship, Sar allowed himself a wide smile, his skin glowing with patterns of happiness. It worked, he said simply. It really worked. As news of the successful test spread, celebrations broke out around the world. Humans and Zorn alike danced in the streets, marveling at what they had accomplished together. But even as they celebrated, new questions arose. With the warp drive fixed, would the Zorn leave immediately? How would the exchange program work? And what other wonders and challenges awaited both species as they prepared to explore the galaxy together? The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. The successful test of the hybrid warp drive marked a turning point in the Zorn's stay on Earth. As the news spread across both human and Zorn communities, a mix of excitement and sadness filled the air. The time for the Zorn to return home was approaching, but it also meant saying goodbye to the friendships formed over the past months. Captain Khar stood before a joint assembly of human leaders and Zorn representatives. His voice was steady as he addressed the gathering. "We came to your world as strangers in need," he said, his translator conveying the emotion in his words. "You took us in, helped us, and became our friends. We will never forget this kindness." The President of the United States stepped forward. "Captain Sar, the Zorn have given us far more than we could have imagined. You've opened our eyes to the wonders of the universe. This is not goodbye, but the beginning of a grand adventure for both our peoples." As the two leaders shook hands, a human custom the Zorn had come to appreciate, cameras flashed, capturing the historic moment for posterity. Meanwhile, preparations for the Zorn's departure were in full swing. But it wasn't just about getting the fleet ready. The newly established exchange program was causing excitement and some chaos. In a bustling spaceport built specially for the occasion, humans and Zorn scurried about, carrying luggage and equipment. Sarah, clipboard in hand, was helping coordinate the exchange participants. "Okay, Dr. Patel," she called out to a nervous-looking man. "You're assigned to the science vessel, Stellar Seeker. Please proceed to Gate 7. As Dr. Patel moved off, a young Zorn approached Sarah, its skin flickering with patterns of anxiety. "Excuse me," it said hesitantly. "I'm Zira. I'm staying on Earth to study your oceans. Can you tell me where to go?" Sarah smiled warmly. "Of course, Zira. Your Earth host family is waiting just over there. They're very excited to meet you." Across the spaceport, Emily and Zeal were saying their goodbyes. Both had tears in their eyes, though Zeal's came from all four of them. "I can't believe you're not coming with us," Zeal said, his antennae drooping. Emily smiled sadly. "Someone needs to stay behind to continue our work here. But I'll visit soon, I promise. And we'll talk every day via the new quantum communication system." They hugged tightly, an embrace that bridged the gap between their species. As the day of departure drew near, an unexpected problem arose. The Zorn's home planet sent a message, expressing concern about the large number of humans coming to visit. They feared the impact on their ecosystem and society. Zar, Vela, and human leaders worked tirelessly to find a solution. After days of negotiations, a compromise was reached. The exchange program would start smaller than originally planned, with only a select group of humans visiting the Zorn homeworld initially. Over time, as both species grew more comfortable, the program would expand. On the eve of the Zorn fleet's departure, a grand farewell ceremony was held. Millions of humans gathered in cities around the world to watch the event on giant screens. The Zorn ships, now repaired and upgraded with the hybrid technology, hovered majestically in the sky. As night fell, a spectacular light show began. Zorn ships projected intricate patterns of light into the sky, while human fireworks exploded in a dazzling display. The two forms of celebration intertwined, creating a breathtaking fusion of alien and human art. In the VIP viewing area, Sarah stood with Emily, both women watching the sky with wonder. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered. Emily nodded, then turned to her friend with a mischievous smile. "So, are you ready for your trip to an alien world?" Sarah grinned, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life." As the celebration continued into the night, humans and Zorn alike felt a sense of anticipation. Tomorrow would mark the beginning of a new chapter in the history of both species. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited their joint exploration. The story of the stranded alien fleet was ending, but a greater adventure was just beginning. The day of departure arrived with a mix of excitement and solemnity. As the first rays of sunlight painted the sky, the Zorn fleet began to ascend, their massive ships gleaming in the morning light. Millions of humans watched from the ground, their eyes fixed on the spectacle above. On the bridge of the Zorn flagship, Captain Tsar stood tall, his four eyes taking in the sight of Earth one last time. Beside him, Sarah fidgeted with her spacesuit, still in awe of where she found herself. "Are you ready?" Tsar asked, his voice gentle. Sarah nodded, her voice filled with determination. "Ready as I'll ever be, Captain." As the ships reached the edge of Earth's atmosphere, Tsar gave the command. "Initiate warp sequence." One by one, the Zorn ships disappeared in flashes of light, leaving behind a shimmering trail in the sky. Within moments, the entire fleet was gone, taking with them the first human ambassadors to an alien world. Back on Earth, Emily watched the departure from the control center, her heart heavy but full of hope. Zeal had left a parting gift for her, a small glowing crystal that pulsed with a warm light, a piece of his home to remember him by. As the day progressed, the world began to adjust to the Zorn's absence. But everywhere, signs of their visit remained. New technologies were being integrated into everyday life. Schools were adding Zorn language and culture to their curricula. The night sky held a new meaning for many, who now looked up and wondered what other wonders awaited out there. Weeks passed. Then one quiet evening, as Emily was working late in her lab, a familiar hum filled the air. She rushed outside just in time to see a Zorn ship materialize in the sky. Her heart leaped. They were back. The ship landed gracefully in the designated area. As the doors opened, Sarah emerged, her face beaming with excitement. Behind her came Zeal, his skin pulsing with patterns of joy. Emily ran to meet them, enveloping both in a tight hug. "Welcome back," she exclaimed. "How was it?" Sarah's eyes sparkled. Emily, it was indescribable. Their world, their cities, their way of life. It's all so different, yet somehow familiar. And the things we learned. Wait until you see the data we brought back. Zeal nodded enthusiastically. And your Earth friends made quite an impression on our people. I think this exchange will be even more successful than we hoped. As news of the return spread, world leaders gathered to hear the report from the human ambassadors. Sarah stood before them, her voice steady as she recounted their experiences. "The Zorn have invited us to join a galactic coalition," she announced, causing a stir in the assembly. "We would be the newest members, but they believe we have much to offer. Our creativity, our adaptability, our unique perspective, these are valued traits in the wider universe." The room erupted in discussion. This was more than anyone had anticipated. Humanity was being offered a place among the stars, a chance to be part of something greater than they had ever imagined. In the days that followed, debates raged across the globe. Should humanity accept the invitation? Were they ready for such a monumental step? In the end, the decision was made. Earth would join the Galactic Coalition, embarking on a new era of exploration and diplomacy. As preparations began for this new chapter in human history, Emily found herself reflecting on the incredible journey that had led them here. It had all started with a distress call, a stranded fleet in need of help. By extending a hand in friendship, humanity had not only saved the Zorn, but had also opened the door to their own future among the stars. The story of the stranded alien fleet had come full circle. What began as a tale of survival had transformed into one of unity, friendship, and limitless potential. As Emily looked up at the stars, she smiled, knowing that the greatest adventure was yet to come. And somewhere out there, on a distant world, Captain Carr gazed at the same stars, feeling a sense of gratitude for the humans who had changed the course of his people's history. Two species, once strangers, now bound by an unbreakable bond of friendship and shared destiny. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited them all.